Hello from Mindset Daily, wishing you a day full of health, peace, and happiness. Thank you for watching the Mindset Daily channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe to support us. Thank you so much. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to glide through their day while others are drowning by 9 a.m.? What if the problem isn't your schedule, but your state of mind the moment you wake up? And what if the most successful people in history all shared one secret, hidden in their mornings? If your mornings feel rushed and your thoughts are already racing before your feet even hit the floor, you're not just overwhelmed, you're misaligned. That foggy chaos isn't simply morning grumpiness. It's a silent momentum killer. When stress is the first thing your brain processes, it doesn't stay in the bedroom. It follows you into every meeting, every choice, every word you say. But here's the truth. It doesn't have to be that way. There's a quiet power in starting your day with calm, clarity, and intention. When you center yourself in those early moments, your mind becomes clear, not cluttered. You stop reacting to life and start directing it. That's when the real victories begin. Not in noise, not in rush, but in the calm that precedes everything. In just a few minutes, you'll discover how to shape a morning routine that clears the fog, sharpens your focus, and sets your day on a path of purpose and progress. Every sunrise brings you a simple yet profound choice. Wake with intention or drift with distraction. And that single decision, it echoes far beyond the morning. It determines how your day unfolds and eventually how your life does. Before the world stirs, before messages and notifications pull you in 100 directions, there's a quiet space that exists, sacred and still. It was in that very silence that great minds like Andrew Carnegie found their edge. Carnegie, one of the greatest industrialists in history, didn't stumble into success. He designed it, and it all began with his mornings. So what did he know that most people ignore? Let's explore that in the next part. As we saw in the last section, Andrew Carnegie didn't begin his days by accident. He began them with intention, shaping each morning as the foundation for the success that followed. To him, a morning wasn't just the start of another day. It was the blank canvas on which a masterpiece could be created. He didn't wake up simply because it was time to. He woke with direction, not out of routine, but out of resolve. There was no confusion, no drifting. There was clarity, and he understood something most people miss. How you begin your day shapes how you will end it. Your first waking hour acts like the rudder of a great ship, guiding everything that follows. Think about that. Before the world pulls at you with emails, schedules, and obligations, there is this sacred, silent space. A moment untouched. A blank page waiting for you to write the tone of your day. And in that space, you're given a quiet but powerful choice. Will you let the day shape you, or will you shape the day? Those who rise without a plan, with no purpose, become reactive by default. Their emotions sway with headlines, traffic, or someone else's urgency. They're like leaves caught in the wind, floating without control, hoping for a good outcome, but never steering toward it. They wake late, they rush, they forget, and then they wonder why the rest of the day feels chaotic. But those who rise with intention, they move differently. They view their mornings not as routine, but as ritual. They spend time in stillness, meditating, visualizing, journaling, reflecting. They don't just prepare for the day. They reconnect with their reason for being. Their why isn't an afterthought. It's the fuel they ignite before anything else. They don't rise to escape sleep. They rise to chase vision. And that vision, it's already vivid in their minds before they've even stood up. Clarity doesn't show up by accident. It's created, and the morning is where it begins. So how do you start designing mornings like that? Ones filled with clarity, vision, and power. Let's unpack that in the next part. Previously, we explored how intentional mornings create clarity, not by accident, but by design. Now, let's take that clarity one step deeper. There's a rare kind of silence that exists before the world wakes up. It's in that stillness, when the noise hasn't yet begun and distractions haven't claimed your focus, that something powerful happens. You can finally hear your inner voice. Not the voice influenced by expectations or pressure, but the one that whispers truth, the one that remembers your dreams. In those early hours, you reconnect with your truest self, stripped of the titles, roles, and masks the world demands. That's the sacred power of solitude. Mr. Carnegie didn't spend his mornings caught in distractions or shallow routines. His mornings were carved from purpose. They were focused, deliberate, filled not with reaction, but with creation. He didn't wake up to respond to the world. He woke up to build his own. And that's where the difference lies, not between good and bad, but between ordinary and exceptional. A remarkable life isn't sculpted in once-in-a-lifetime events. It's shaped by steady, small, deliberate choices. And the most defining of those choices? How you begin your day. So ask yourself honestly, what do your mornings say about the life you're living? Are they rushed, chaotic, driven by external noise? Or are they calm, focused, rooted in intention? You don't need to wait for the perfect moment or for inspiration to strike like lightning. You create that inspiration in the way you design your mornings. Tomorrow, before you even step out of bed, try something different. Pause, close your eyes, visualize your ideal day. Not a fantasy, but a clear, grounded picture. See yourself walking with power, speaking with purpose, acting from a place of clarity and confidence. Can you feel it? That pull. The energy of your own dreams nudging you forward? Let that vision shape your energy. Then rise, not reluctantly, not sluggishly, but with urgency, with drive, with conviction. Because this world doesn't need more people sleepwalking through life. It needs more people fully awake, people like you. Awake, aware, on fire with purpose. You are the captain of this ship. The morning is your compass. And this day, it's your ocean. Will you choose your direction or let the waves decide? In the next part, we'll talk about one of the most powerful tools you can use to steer your course with certainty. The power of setting clear, intentional goals. Previously, we talked about rising with vision, beginning your day with clarity, purpose, and conviction. Now let's look at one simple, powerful habit that can transform that inner clarity into lasting progress. Before the world pulls at your attention, before emails, headlines, and responsibilities invade your space, there is a brief, precious moment. A moment to pause, to breathe, and to ask yourself, what truly matters today? It's in that quiet space that goal setting becomes a game changer. That single act, taking a moment to set specific intentions for your day, can shift the entire course of your life. And history proves it. Take Thomas Edison as an example. His success wasn't random. It wasn't luck or a stroke of fate. He didn't simply wake up and hope the day would go well. Edison approached each morning with absolute clarity. He didn't just carry vague dreams in his head. He turned them into specific, measurable goals. He wrote them down. Each goal served as a stepping stone, a deliberate move toward the future he imagined. He didn't leave his success to chance. He planned it, one morning at a time. Because when you write down your goals, you're not just scribbling thoughts. You're making a declaration, a promise, a commitment to your future self. It's more than a task list. It's a mental contract. And here's the truth. Goals are not wishes. Goals are decisions. And when you honor your decisions with consistent action, your life begins to change. That's the real difference between a life that drifts and a life that soars. Between mediocrity and mastery. And it often comes down to this. Do you review your goals every day? Not just once a year during New Year's resolutions. Not monthly. Every single morning. Picture this. You reach for your journal or notebook. You don't just jot down chores. You write the 3 or 4 most important things you must accomplish today. You see those goals clearly in your mind. You visualize completing them. You feel the sense of pride, that comes from progress. And with that momentum, your day begins on a mission. So what happens when you combine this goal clarity with intentional habits? That's exactly what we'll uncover in the next part. In the last section, we explored how writing down clear, specific goals each morning activates focus and direction. Now, let's take a deeper look into what happens beneath the surface when you commit to this powerful habit. This simple daily ritual does more than organize your thoughts. It activates something far deeper. It primes your subconscious mind. Suddenly, your brain isn't just aware of what matters. It becomes hungry for it. You start spotting opportunities you used to miss. You find yourself resisting temptations you used to give into. You move through the day not with random bursts of energy, but with focused intention. And this isn't wishful thinking. This is neuroscience. The brain is, by design, a goal-seeking machine. When you give it a clear, defined target and reinforce it through writing and visualization, it goes to work behind the scenes. It filters the information you see. It influences the decisions you make. It quietly shapes the behaviors you choose. Without even realizing it, you've flipped on an internal compass that keeps pointing you toward your desired outcome. Edison knew this truth well. He didn't begin his mornings lost in distraction or drift. He approached them with intention, asking questions, testing theories, setting specific aims. His mornings weren't chaotic. They were deliberate. And as a result, his inventions, his insights, his breakthroughs, they weren't just flashes of genius. They were built on consistent, structured effort, repeated daily. So ask yourself, what's holding you back from doing the same? You don't need to invent the next light bulb to live with intention. You simply need to choose today to reclaim your mornings, to treat them as sacred, to realize that long before the world starts shouting for your attention, you have a moment to shape your own narrative. Each morning, write down your objectives, not just long-term dreams, but practical, immediate steps. What must be done today? What action, no matter how small, will move you forward? And don't stop at the writing. See it. Picture yourself finishing that presentation. Hear yourself making that difficult phone call. Feel yourself clicking send on that proposal. Visualize taking that quiet walk or reading that final chapter. Let your brain experience the success before it becomes reality. Because when the mind sees it clearly, the body follows naturally. And speaking of the body, in the next part, we'll explore how your physical state, your energy, and your habits can either anchor you or elevate everything you've just set in motion. In the previous section, we explored how writing and visualizing your goals sets your internal compass. Now, let's talk about how that mental clarity transforms into emotional power, the kind that drives real action. The sharper your mental picture, the deeper your emotional connection. And here's the fascinating truth. Your subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between something vividly imagined and something physically experienced. It responds not to logic, but to repetition, emotion, and clarity. The more clearly you can see your success, the more you can feel it before it even happens, the more likely it is to become real. That's not just theory. It's why world-class athletes mentally rehearse their victories before stepping onto the field. It's why top performers visualize every step before they take the stage. You may not be standing in a stadium or under a spotlight, but your life is no less of an arena. The stakes are real. The results matter. So ask yourself honestly, what are your goals today? Are they written down? Are they specific, purposeful, and actionable? Or are they still just vague ideas floating in your mind, waiting for the perfect time or mood? Don't wait for the moment. Create it. Daily goal setting isn't just a strategy to be more productive. It's a mindset, a lifestyle, a declaration of identity. It's how you remind yourself every single morning of who you are and who you're choosing to become. And here's the part most people overlook. These tiny choices you make each day, to write, to visualize, to act, they compound over time. Days of intention become weeks of consistency. Weeks become months of growth. And one day, you'll look around and realize you've built something remarkable. Not because you got lucky, but because you made a choice over and over again. The future doesn't show up fully formed. It's sculpted in the quiet minutes before the sun rises. It's written in the ink of your notebook. It's built in the mental images you return to every morning. Start your day like Edison did, with intention, with clarity, and with zero tolerance for drifting. You already hold the power. Use it. Set your goals. Write them down. See them in your mind. And then go turn them into reality. Now that your mind is aligned and your goals are clear, it's time to take it one step further by learning how to harness the incredible force that will carry you forward. Morning momentum. In the last section, we talked about aligning your mind and goals through clarity and visualization. Now, let's take that internal alignment and turn it into action through the powerful force of morning momentum. It all begins the moment you open your eyes. Those first waking moments aren't just a blur of time on the clock. They're the launch pad for everything that will follow. How you think, how you feel, and what you ultimately achieve. The energy you generate in the early hours has the power to ripple through the rest of your day, creating a cascade of wins that build on one another. Harness that energy, and you ignite a chain reaction of success. History gives us countless examples of this. Look at industrial titans like John D. Rockefeller. His empire wasn't built on luck or chance. It was built through precision, one day at a time, one disciplined morning after another. While most of the world was still asleep, Rockefeller was already in motion. He didn't just dream. He planned. He didn't wait for motivation. He moved with purpose. And one of his greatest habits? Early morning productivity. It was his secret weapon, his competitive edge. Rockefeller understood a golden principle. Starting strong creates unstoppable momentum. When you begin your day with clarity and strength, you don't just check off tasks, you build velocity. The first thing you do, especially if it's the most difficult task, becomes a signal. It tells your brain, I'm in control. I lead my day. That first victory creates a ripple. One focused action becomes the spark that lights up every task that follows. Imagine the contrast. One person rolls out of bed late, distracted and sluggish. They scroll, stumble through breakfast, and by the time they begin working, they already feel behind. Another person wakes early, locks in on their most important challenge, and conquers it before the sun is fully up. Which one do you think ends their day feeling fulfilled? When you start strong, you don't chase the day. The day follows you. So how do you consistently create that kind of momentum? One that carries you forward hour by hour? That's exactly what we'll explore next. As we dive into the rituals and routines that fuel focused energy and unstoppable discipline. In the last part, we explored how starting strong in the morning sets a powerful tone for your entire day. Now let's look at what happens when that strong start becomes something even more potent, momentum. So ask yourself, who feels more confident, more energized, more in control of their day? The one who delays or the one who takes action immediately? That's the quiet magic of momentum. Once you generate it, it pushes you forward with surprising ease. You don't have to force yourself into motion. You're already in it. The science behind it is simple but powerful. When you tackle something difficult early on, you activate a sense of accomplishment that triggers a reward response in your brain. That reward is dopamine, the chemical of motivation, focus, and drive. You don't just feel good. You feel capable. You feel powerful. And that power begins to show up in everything else you do. Your meetings become more intentional. Your focus sharpens. Even minor tasks start flowing faster and with less resistance. But momentum isn't just a tool for productivity. It's also a powerful shield against stress. When you confront your biggest task first, instead of avoiding it, you lift a heavy weight from your mind. You release the anxiety that comes from procrastination. You eliminate the mental clutter of "I still need to do this" and replace it with "I already did that." You go from playing defense to leading with offense. And that shift, subtle as it may seem, has the potential to redefine your entire day. Because here's the truth. Winning your morning doesn't mean being perfect. It means making progress. It's choosing discipline over delay, action over avoidance. And over time, that choice becomes a rhythm, a habit, a way of life. It's not just a better day. It's a better version of you, built one small act at a time. Think about it. What's your first battle tomorrow morning? Is it a call you've been dreading? A difficult conversation? A workout that demands more than just effort, but mental grit? A report or proposal that needs undivided attention? Whatever it is, don't wait. Face it first, not after the easy stuff, not after you've warmed up. First, because what you conquer early shapes everything that follows. In the next part, we'll dive deeper into how your morning environment and routines can either support this momentum or silently sabotage it. In the previous section, we explored the power of facing your hardest task first, of taking bold action to build unstoppable momentum. But there's one truth we can't ignore. That moment rarely feels perfect, and that's exactly why it matters. You see, waiting doesn't make hard things easier. It makes them heavier. The longer a task lingers on your mind, the more it drains your focus, your energy, your emotional bandwidth. It doesn't just sit there, it grows. It steals clarity. It creates friction. But when you tackle that task early, you lift that weight before it has the chance to settle. You move lighter. You move freer. Let your morning be a statement, not of hesitation, but of bold intention. Let it say, "I don't wait for motivation. I generate it." Let it declare, "I don't wait for momentum. I create it." Because the way you begin doesn't just shape how you feel, it shapes how far you go. Your energy, your focus, your discipline, they don't magically appear. They begin with a decision. And one of the most powerful decisions you can make is to begin strong. Win a morning. Win the day. But even with momentum on your side, life doesn't always flow smoothly, does it? Challenges still come. Setbacks appear without warning. And that's where your next advantage must be built, not in strength alone, but in resilience. That brings us to the next key, building resilience through daily habits. Because life won't test you once or twice. It will test you often and frequently when you're least prepared. But within that reality lies something powerful. Every single morning gives you a chance to strengthen your inner core. It's more than just a new day. It's a training ground, a quiet, sacred hour to build your mindset, reinforce your strength, and prepare your spirit for whatever lies ahead. Few understood this better than Winston Churchill. During some of the darkest days in human history, as bombs fell and uncertainty stretched across nations, Churchill stood steady, unshaken. His resolve wasn't born from comfort. It was forged from clarity, discipline, and an unyielding refusal to give in. So how can you cultivate that same level of inner strength, even in the small beginnings of each morning? That's exactly what we'll dive into in the next part. In the previous part, we touched on how Winston Churchill's unshakable leadership was forged not by comfort, but through discipline and morning resilience. Let's take a closer look at how those morning hours became the foundation for strength and how you can build the same. Churchill's mornings were never idle or automatic. They were intentional. Each day, he rose not simply to meet the routine, but to prepare himself mentally, emotionally, and spiritually to lead through chaos. His mornings were not about ease. They were about readiness. And that's the essence of resilience. It isn't some rare gift reserved for a select few. It's a learned skill, a muscle, one that strengthens every time you challenge it, especially when you don't feel like it. And like all strength, It's built through repetition and effort. Each morning, you're presented with the opportunity to train that muscle. The only question is, do you accept it? Start small, but start intentionally. Take that cold shower. Go for a walk when your body would rather rest. Finish the task you've delayed. These may seem like minor acts, but they are not insignificant. They are micro-declarations of your identity, subtle but powerful ways of telling yourself, I am disciplined. I am committed. I follow through. Because in those small, self-imposed discomforts, your inner strength is forged. Truly resilient people don't wait for storms to hit before they prepare. They train in clear weather. They anticipate the moments when life will test them. And they build mental armor in advance. When adversity strikes, they don't say, why me? They ask, what now? That shift from victim to creator is the foundation of mental toughness. Resilience doesn't mean pretending the pain doesn't exist. It doesn't mean you won't feel it. It means you aren't broken by it. You rise anyway. Setbacks aren't detours on the path. They are part of the path. They're where strength is built. And when you start your mornings with that mindset, seeing each challenge not as an obstacle, but as training, everything changes. You stop avoiding discomfort. You start transforming it. And it's in that daily process, moment by moment, choice by choice, that your character is shaped. So how do you design your mornings to support this mindset consistently? To build an environment that strengthens your resolve rather than weakens it? That's exactly what we'll explore next. In the last part, we explored how resilience is not built during moments of crisis, but during calm, consistent effort. Now, let's bring that principle into the personal space of your morning routine. Resilience doesn't come from ease. It comes from endurance. That's why your morning matters. Before the noise of the world seeps in, before the headlines, the emails, the demands, take that sacred moment to sit with yourself. Just breathe, reflect, ask a simple but powerful question. What can I do today to grow stronger? And whatever answer comes, act on it. Don't wait for the right mood, the perfect time, or the ideal circumstances. The perfect moment? It's now. Maybe it's a tough conversation you've been avoiding. Maybe it's a decision you've delayed or a comfort you need to resist. Whatever it is, lean into it. Not with hesitation, but with purpose. Because here's the truth. Resilience is not born from dramatic acts. It's forged in the quiet decisions no one sees. It's the choice to rise when staying in bed feels easier. It's pressing forward when quitting seems more convenient. It's standing your ground when the winds of life push hard against you. Winston Churchill captured it best when he said, "Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts." And that courage, it begins each morning. It begins in how you greet the day before the day gets a chance to shape you. The strength you choose to build in those early minutes becomes your armor. It shields you when life gets chaotic. It reminds you of your core, your values, your identity, when the outside world tries to make you forget. This practice doesn't promise ease, but it does offer something far more valuable: readiness. So when trials show up, and they will, you won't crumble. You'll rise, already prepared, because you haven't left resilience to chance. You've chosen to make it a ritual. Every sunrise brings you a decision. Will you let the day shape you, or will you shape the day? Choose the latter. Let every morning become your forge. And now that we've established the power of personal strength, it's time to explore how discipline and structure turn your intentions into real, measurable results. In the previous part, we saw how resilience isn't something you stumble upon. It's something you build one deliberate morning at a time. Now, let's take that one step deeper into the belief that powers every action you take. Let every challenge become your training ground. Let every moment of discomfort refine you. Because greatness doesn't happen by accident. It's shaped in the quiet, consistent decisions you make, especially in the early hours. And above all, resilience is not found. It's created again and again, morning after morning. Now here's where everything begins: belief. Your reality, the way you see the world, the results you attract, and the limits you feel, is ultimately shaped by your beliefs. Not what the world tells you, not what others expect of you, but what you believe deep down in the silence of your own mind. It's not your circumstances that define you. It's the thoughts you allow to take root each morning that do. Henry Ford, the man who revolutionized the auto industry and redefined how the world moves, understood this better than most. He once said, "Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right." That single sentence contains the architecture of personal success. Ford didn't rise to power because he had more advantages. He didn't build an empire because luck favored him. He succeeded because he believed he could. Belief was the engine. Discipline was the steering wheel. And every morning, you're handed the same set of keys. Each sunrise offers a blank canvas, an invitation to shape the day before it shapes you. But before you even reach for your goals or jump into your to-do list, you have to begin with belief. That's the foundation. Without it, discipline crumbles and goals fade. So start your day by aligning your mind, not just with possibility, but with conviction. Not just in theory, but in practice. Speak it aloud if you must. Look in the mirror if it helps. Say, "I am capable. I am focused. I am worthy of success. I will face challenges and rise. I will create value today." Because what you say in the morning echoes through everything you do. And now that you've laid the mental foundation, in the next part we'll explore how habitual repetition turns belief into behavior, and behavior into transformation. In the last part, we talked about how belief is the starting point, the inner shift that must happen before any meaningful action can follow. Now let's take that belief and give it structure, give it rhythm, and turn it into something that shapes your identity from the inside out. This isn't arrogance. It's alignment. You're aligning your internal world, your thoughts, your emotions, your expectations, with the outcomes you want to create. Because if your subconscious is filled with fear, doubt, and limitation, it will quietly work against you at every step. It will find excuses, hesitate at opportunities, and second-guess progress. But if your inner world is saturated with belief, clarity, and purpose, then your subconscious doesn't become a barrier. It becomes your greatest ally. That's the power of morning affirmations. They aren't just feel-good mantras or trendy quotes. They are direct commands to your subconscious mind. And when spoken with real emotion and practiced consistently, they begin to rewire your brain. They don't just encourage you, they reshape your self-concept. You move from being someone who wishes to someone who knows. Belief won't guarantee an easy road, but it will guarantee something even more valuable: endurance. It becomes the foundation that every disciplined action rests upon. When belief is firm, failure no longer feels fatal, it feels directional. Setbacks become signals instead of stop signs. Your mind stops asking, "Can I?" and starts asking, "How will I?" Look back at the greatest achievers in history, from inventors and artists to leaders and visionaries. Every one of them faced resistance. They endured rejection, skepticism, and doubt. But what carried them through wasn't just skill or strategy. It was belief, deeply rooted and reinforced in their daily rituals. They didn't just wake up and work. They woke up and believed. When you begin each day with belief in yourself, everything shifts. You stop scanning the world for permission. You stop waiting for perfect conditions. You stop needing someone else to validate your path. Instead, you generate your own momentum. You cut through the noise. You walk into your day not with uncertainty, but with direction and conviction. And here's the truth. That kind of belief, firm, practiced, embodied, is what builds the discipline to take action even when it's hard. So how do you anchor this belief into your life consistently and make it stronger every single day? That's exactly what we'll explore in the next part. Previously, we uncovered how belief, practiced daily, becomes the foundation for self-leadership and meaningful action. Now, let's explore how your belief system directly shapes the reality you experience. Your mind doesn't know the difference between what you imagine and what is real. What you vividly picture and emotionally affirm, it accepts as truth. That's why what you feed your mind in the morning matters more than most people realize. When you speak belief, your brain listens. It aligns your thoughts, actions, and perceptions with that belief. You begin to notice possibilities where others see problems. You gain the stamina to persist where others stop. You quiet the voice of doubt, not by force, but by focus. But the opposite is also true. When you begin your day allowing doubt to take root, you're planting weeds in the very soil meant to grow your potential. Your morning is not just another part of your schedule. It's your mental workshop. It's where identity is shaped and vision is cast. It's where you quietly decide, what kind of person will I be today? What kind of life will I build, one habit at a time? So don't leave that sacred time to randomness or reaction. Claim it. Fill it with words that breathe strength. Speak with conviction. Declare who you are, not based on fear, but on purpose. Inject power into your thoughts before the world has a chance to pull them apart. Let belief become your compass. Because your life, the one you're building, isn't written by chance or fate. It is authored by your belief. And belief, it starts with a decision, a choice, one you must make each and every morning. So choose boldly. Choose clarity. Choose strength. Choose to believe, and you will begin to notice. Your world shifts to match that inner reality. And once belief has laid the foundation, there's something else that must follow, something that gives your actions deeper meaning and endurance, passion and purpose. Let's explore that next. In the last part, we explored how belief becomes the author of your reality. Now, we turn to the fire that fuels that belief, the deeper force that keeps you moving when logic says stop, passion. Every morning is more than a routine. It's a call, a quiet invitation to reconnect with the greatness already within you. Because passion isn't just for the dreamers. It's for the doers who dare to dream boldly, again and again. Walt Disney didn't build an empire of imagination on strategy alone. He built it with passion, relentless, visionary, undying passion. Long before a single theme park was built, before Mickey Mouse ever appeared on a screen, before full-length animated films even existed, there was simply a man with a dream. A dream so vivid that no setback, no criticism, and no obstacle could dim its light. Disney's mornings weren't consumed by doubt or distraction. They were grounded in clarity and ignited by purpose. Every day, he reminded himself of the joy, the wonder, and the hope he wanted to bring into the world. And you carry that same spark. Maybe it feels buried under layers of responsibility. Maybe routine has dulled the fire that once burned bright, but it's still there. And every single morning offers you the opportunity to reach back in and reignite it. So pause and ask yourself, why did I begin this journey? What was the vision that once stirred my soul and made me move with urgency? What legacy do I want to leave behind when this chapter is written? These are not idle questions. They are reminders, lifelines that reconnect you with what matters most. Because passion, when nurtured, transforms ordinary mornings into meaningful beginnings. It's not about hype or loud energy. It's not about constant excitement. Passion, in its truest form, is quiet but steady. It's a compass, a flame that burns beneath the surface, guiding your choices, shaping your focus, and giving your actions purpose. Each morning, before the world gets your attention, give yourself to that inner mission. Revisit your dream. Say it aloud. Visualize it. Let it move you. Think of the people you hope to impact, the change you want to create, the story you're writing one decision at a time. Because passion isn't about doing everything. It's about doing what truly matters with heart. So how do you turn that passion into a practical daily driver of your life? How do you channel it into discipline that lasts? That's what we'll explore in the next part. In the previous part, we uncovered how passion isn't just a spark. It's the inner fuel that gives meaning to your actions. Now, let's talk about how to keep that fire alive, especially when life grows heavy or uninspiring. Passion isn't always loud. Often it's quiet, steady, and intensely personal. But when you feed it, it becomes unstoppable. It becomes the invisible force that moves you forward, even when motivation runs dry. It's the reason you keep showing up when others would quit. It's what pushes you through the fog of fatigue, the weight of obstacles, and the sting of failure. Think of passion as a fire. Left untended, it dims. It flickers. Eventually, it fades. But when you tend to it, even just a few minutes each morning, it grows stronger. It spreads warmth and light into everything you do. It gives shape to your discipline. It fuels your courage. That's why your mornings are so critical. It's not only about writing goals or listing priorities. It's about reconnecting with the why behind them, the emotional current that drives the whole engine. Because challenges will come. There will be days that test your limits, long hours, setbacks, doubts. But when your efforts are rooted in passion, those struggles lose their power to stop you. You're not just working for a result. You're building something that matters. You're building something that's bigger than you, bigger than comfort, status, or reward. Walt Disney once said, "All our dreams can come true if we have the courage to pursue them." But where does that courage come from? Not strategy, not routine. It comes from passion, the kind that needs tending every single day. That passion is your reminder. This journey matters. So before the noise of the world begins, before the opinions, the emails, the distractions, give yourself that sacred window. Just 5 minutes, maybe 10. Reflect on your mission. Reconnect with the feeling behind your vision. Let it stir something in your chest. Let it guide your breath, your focus, and your first step. Because when you nurture passion daily, you awaken a force within you that can't be imitated or replaced. It's real, it's raw, and it moves mountains. It whispers to you in the dark moments when no one's watching. It roars in moments of victory. It keeps you grounded, resilient, and deeply fulfilled. Every great achievement in history has been fueled by passion, and yours is no exception. So don't just start your day with plans. Start it with purpose. Let passion be the pulse of your morning. And now, as your inner fire grows, it's time to turn that energy into something just as powerful. Discipline, the bridge between passion and results. In the last part, we explored how passion, when nurtured daily, becomes a driving force that fuels your actions and gives your journey meaning. Now that the fire is lit, how do you make sure it keeps growing, evolving into something even greater? The answer lies in one timeless principle: continuous learning. When you stoke the fire of passion each morning, let it lead you towards something bigger, your life's purpose. Because a life driven by passion is powerful, but a life driven by passion and wisdom, that's unstoppable. And that's where daily learning comes in. Make it your ritual to learn something new each morning. During the quiet, sacred hours before the world makes its demands, that stillness is a gift. And in it, you hold the key to your own transformation. There is no greater investment than the one you make in your mind. Not money, not status, not comfort, because when you sharpen your mind, you upgrade the way you live. The most impactful growth doesn't happen overnight. It happens through the steady discipline of learning daily, deliberately, curiously, not out of obligation, but out of desire to evolve. Consider Abraham Lincoln. He was born into poverty, raised with little access to formal education, and yet he became one of the most intellectually agile leaders in history. Why? Because he treated his mornings like preparation. He read, he reflected, he studied. His wisdom wasn't a result of privilege. It was born of persistence. Lincoln understood that each morning offered more than just a head start on the day. It was a chance to expand his mind, challenge his thinking, and prepare his spirit for the weight of leadership. And you don't need prestige or wealth to walk that same path. You just need the willingness to show up to your books, to your questions, to your curiosity. Lifelong learners aren't defined by degrees. They're defined by mindset. They don't look at the sunrise and rush into routine. They pause and ask, what can I discover today? Whether you read a single chapter, watch a powerful lecture, or practice a new skill, the act of learning each morning sends a powerful signal to your subconscious. I am growing. I am expanding. I'm not done becoming who I am meant to be. And once you adopt that mindset, something extraordinary begins to unfold. In the next part, we'll explore how this quiet commitment to learning feeds into the most critical piece of all: alignment between your mind, your habits, and your destiny. In the last section, we talked about the power of morning learning, not just as a habit, but as a daily declaration of your growth. Now, let's take that mindset further and see why it may be the most valuable asset you'll ever own. I'm still growing. I'm still becoming. I'm not done. That mindset, humble, open, and hungry, is your greatest advantage in a world that never stops changing. Morning learning is more than collecting information. It sharpens your thinking. It strengthens your focus. It activates a kind of momentum that carries through everything you do that day. And maybe most importantly, it keeps your ego in check. Because the learner's mindset is rooted in humility. It knows that wisdom doesn't come from knowing everything. It comes from recognizing how much more there is to understand. Think of your mind like a blade. Left untouched, it dulls with time. But when you hone it regularly, even for just a few focused minutes each morning, it becomes sharp, precise, powerful. It's not just about being smart. It's about staying ready. With that daily sharpening, you become more effective in your work, more thoughtful in your conversations, more resilient in your challenges. In today's world, adaptability isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. And learning? It's the gateway. The more you expose yourself to new knowledge, the more agile you become. The more you stretch your mind, the more capable you are of pivoting in the face of change. Growth gives you confidence in chaos. It gives you options when others freeze. It gives you clarity when others panic. Because those who stop learning become rigid. They fear the unknown. They cling to what was instead of leaning into what could be. But those who choose to learn every day become strong in uncertainty. They don't fear the curveballs. They trust their ability to adapt, to solve, to lead. So make it a habit. Protect a slice of your morning. 10, 15, maybe 20 minutes. Choose your source of wisdom. It could be a biography, a classic philosophy, a new language, or a hands-on skill. Don't just skim. Don't scroll mindlessly. Engage with what you're learning. Take notes. Reflect. Apply it. Because knowledge only becomes power when it meets action. And as you sharpen your mind, the next step becomes clear, aligning your environment and habits to support that growth every single morning. That's exactly what we'll explore in the next part. Previously, we explored how learning each morning sharpens your mind and prepares you to adapt, grow, and lead. But for that growth to truly take root, it must go beyond routine. It must become a living experience. Let learning be active. Let it breathe. Let it move you. Because growth never happens by accident. It's not born from distraction or urgency. It comes from stillness, from focused, deliberate intention. When you sit down in the morning with a mind open to learning, you're not just absorbing information. You're shaping identity. You're designing your future one idea at a time. So pause and ask yourself, what did I learn today? What new insights stretch my thinking? What idea can I carry with me through the rest of this day to guide how I speak, how I work, how I respond? Remember, Abraham Lincoln didn't become a great leader overnight. His brilliance wasn't built in moments of noise, but in years of quiet study, reflection, and relentless curiosity. His mornings weren't filled with aimless distractions. They were filled with purpose, with learning, with transformation. Let your mornings be the same. Begin each day not just by waking your body, but by awakening your mind. Give yourself that space to grow. Not someday, today, even if it's just a few minutes. Because that small investment compounds. That mindset builds layer by layer, morning by morning, into wisdom, into confidence, into legacy. The person who learns every morning becomes the person who leads every day. And once you begin leading from within, something powerful happens. You gain the resilience to face what most people fear, the unexpected. In the next part, we'll explore how adaptability, not strength alone, becomes the defining trait of those who thrive in adversity. In the previous part, we explored how morning learning shapes your growth and equips your mind to lead with wisdom. Now let's talk about one of the most important qualities that separates those who merely survive from those who thrive: adaptability. Look closely at the lives of successful entrepreneurs, innovators, and changemakers. Their greatest victories didn't come from perfect conditions. They came from imperfect realities. From change, from chaos, from moments where plans unraveled, and the only way forward was through adaptation. They didn't fear uncertainty. They embraced it. They didn't resist change. They mastered it. Why? Because they understood a powerful truth. Unpredictability is not the enemy. It's the invitation. An invitation to evolve, to think differently, to rise above what's expected. Markets shifted, trends faded, crises arrived without warning. But they didn't crumble. They endured, and not because they had all the answers, but because they trained themselves to respond with calm instead of panic. They saw openings where others saw dead ends. They built new paths where old ones had disappeared. And that kind of mental flexibility, it doesn't just appear. It's practiced. Your morning routine can and should include that training. Because every sunrise isn't just a fresh start. It's a rehearsal. A space where you mentally prepare not only for what's on the agenda, but for what might catch you off guard. So ask yourself each morning, what might challenge me today? And how will I meet it? Not with stress or resistance, but with calm, clarity, and purpose. Visualize yourself navigating through the unexpected. Not just succeeding, but adjusting, pivoting with power, because adaptability starts with mindset. If you see change as disruption, you'll fight it. But if you view it as direction, you'll welcome it. The most successful people in the world don't wait for perfect conditions. They build new strategies in real time. They don't mourn the death of their old plans. They create better ones, aligned with new realities. Train your mind to spot opportunity inside adversity. When the unexpected happens, pause. Don't panic. Ask, where's the lesson here? What growth is being offered beneath this difficulty? That kind of thinking doesn't come naturally. It's a skill, one that must be practiced daily. And there's no better time to practice than in the early morning, before the noise begins. Imagine stepping into your day not only prepared for the path ahead, but for the detours you never saw coming. That's power. That's leadership. That's freedom. And as we move forward, we'll explore the final pillar that brings it all together: living intentionally on your terms every single day. Previously, we explored the power of adaptability, how embracing change prepares you for the unexpected and allows you to lead through uncertainty. Now, let's bring that principle inward and make it part of your daily rhythm. When your mind is anchored in adaptability, you no longer resist change. You use it. You become agile, responsive, capable of flowing with life's currents rather than being dragged down by them. And that transformation doesn't just happen in moments of crisis. It begins in the quiet of your morning. Make adaptability part of your morning ritual. Reflect for a moment. When was the last time uncertainty helped you grow? When did something unexpected teach you something essential? Write down. Then, write one way you'll stay flexible today, whether it's a conversation you need to approach differently or a shift in plans you choose to accept with grace. Remind yourself, you don't need to control everything. You need clarity. Clarity of purpose. Clarity of values. Clarity of mindset. With that clarity, you can move through anything. Because life will test you, not once but often. Plans will fall apart. People will disappoint. Circumstances will change without warning. But if you greet each morning with openness and adaptability, you won't just endure those moments. You'll evolve through them. Let every challenge become a stepping stone. Let every setback become a setup for something greater. When you adapt, you grow. When you grow, you lead. And when you lead through adversity, you become unstoppable. Embrace change, not as a threat, but as a teacher. Start each day ready to pivot, to flex, to rise. Because adaptability isn't just about surviving change. It's about using change to thrive. And that, in the end, is what success truly means. Not just progress, but presence. Not just movement, but meaning. And what gives meaning its sharpest clarity? What brings depth and perspective to everything you face? Gratitude. In the next part, we'll explore how a mindset of gratitude rewires the way you see the world and unlocks a deeper, more powerful version of success. In the last part, we explored how adaptability allows you to thrive through uncertainty, but to truly see clearly, to find meaning in both the highs and the lows. There's one more powerful mindset to cultivate each morning: gratitude. When you begin your day with gratitude, you shift your entire perspective. Instead of starting from a place of scarcity, of what's missing or not enough, you start from abundance. You root yourself in what is good, what is working, what is already here. Eleanor Roosevelt, known not just for her public influence, but for her deep personal wisdom, understood this well. In the face of personal trials and global crises, she made gratitude a daily practice. She chose deliberately to focus on what was good, what was kind, what was worth celebrating, even in dark times. This wasn't blind optimism. It was strength, and it didn't just lift her mood, it fortified her character. Gratitude helped her lead with compassion, speak with conviction, and influence the world with grace. Her true power wasn't just found in her resilience. It was found in her perspective, shaped every morning by thankfulness. And just like her, you have the same opportunity. Before the distractions arrive, before the demands of the day scatter your thoughts, take a few quiet moments to reflect. Ask yourself, what do I have today that I once hoped for? What small joys surround me right now? What lessons have I learned through past challenges? These questions aren't fluffy. They are reframes. They help you see your life not as a string of burdens, but as a collection of blessings. And when you view life through that lens, everything changes. Gratitude isn't just an emotion. It's a perspective, a lens that sharpens your focus on what matters most. And when you train your mind to seek the good, even in chaos, it becomes a habit, a strength. You stop taking the simple things for granted: a warm cup of coffee, a safe space to rest, the people who believe in you. You become more present, more hopeful, more alive. And science backs this up. Countless studies show that people who practice gratitude every day report less stress, deeper sleep, and greater emotional well-being. Why? Because gratitude doesn't just shift your attitude. It shifts your attention from what's lacking to what's meaningful. And when you carry that perspective with you into the rest of your day, you show up differently, calmer, clearer, more connected. In the next part, we'll take this even further by exploring how gratitude and service work hand in hand, and why the highest form of success isn't what you gain, but what you give. In the last section, we saw how beginning your day with gratitude transforms your mindset, shifting your attention from scarcity to abundance. But gratitude doesn't stop at mindset. It reaches outward. It shapes how you relate to the people and the world around you. Gratitude softens the voice of your inner critic and awakens a deeper sense of peace. It's in that peace that connection flourishes. Relationships don't thrive on perfection. They thrive on presence. And when you truly appreciate the people in your life, everything changes. You listen more attentively. You speak more kindly. You forgive more easily. Gratitude makes space for empathy, for understanding, for love. It strengthens the bonds between you and others because it says something simple yet profound. I see you. I value you. You matter. Even obstacles start to lose their sharpness when seen through a lens of appreciation. A failure no longer feels like defeat. It becomes feedback. A setback turns into a lesson. A delay becomes a disguised gift. Gratitude rewrites the story. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" you start asking, "What is this here to teach me?" And with that one shift, doors open where walls once stood. So make it a practice. Each morning, before the day pulls you into its rhythm, write down 3 things you're grateful for. They don't need to be life-changing. Often, it's the smallest moments that carry the greatest beauty. The warmth of sunlight through your window, a quiet breath before the rush, a message from someone you love. Let these simple acknowledgments become the tone setter for your day. Let them guide how you show up, with presence, with appreciation, with strength. Gratitude is magnetic. It draws more goodness into your life, not through force, but through focus. Because when you consistently notice what's working, you begin to build more of it. You nourish it. You expand it. So tomorrow morning, before your feet even touch the floor, pause. Breathe. Reflect. Give thanks. The world outside may not change overnight, but your world will. Because when you begin with gratitude, you begin with grounded power. And from that power, success flows, not forcefully, but freely. And as you stand in that clarity and strength, there's one more element that takes everything to the next level. Bold action, the kind the world remembers. Let's talk about that next. In the last part, we uncovered how gratitude brings clarity and quiet strength, the kind that grounds your day in purpose. But clarity alone isn't enough. What truly shapes your life is what you do with that clarity. Think of the great innovators like Nikola Tesla. He didn't just imagine breakthroughs. He acted on his vision day after day, turning bold ideas into tangible reality. His legacy wasn't built in a single flash of genius, but through consistent, intentional action, especially in the quiet hours of the morning. And the same truth applies to you. Your actions today are seeds. They may feel small, but over time, they grow into the legacy you'll leave behind. Every decision you make, every bold step forward, becomes part of that story. So each morning, ask yourself, how will my actions today shape my tomorrow? Because greatness isn't just a dream to be admired. It's a responsibility to be lived. It requires movement, intention, decisiveness. So let each morning be your launch pad. Let it fill you with the confidence that your dreams are not just possible. They're within reach. One meaningful action at a time. You don't need to know the whole path to begin. You just need to take the first step, clearly, boldly, deliberately. Now is your moment. Don't wait for perfect conditions. Embrace the morning. Move with purpose. Let your actions speak. Win the morning, and you will surely win the day. Wishing you strength, clarity, and joy. And don't forget to subscribe to Mindset Daily for more inspiration on building a life of purpose and power.